Riverside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
What is on your mind, Cayman? If you are ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Here's your host.
And good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today. This is Catherine Tyson Sewell. I'm sitting in for Sterling this afternoon. And welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. Am I throwing this back to you quickly? All right. So, because my head's a little fuzzy sometimes and I haven't been in here for a little while. So I got Silver Fox. He's driving the car. Are you driving the car? Or are you the passenger? You driving. You driving. All right. Drive that car, Silver Fox. I'll be back with more.
Talk Today is reminding you
to avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
And now, back to Radio Cayman Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. Catherine Tyson Sewell sitting in for Sterling this afternoon. Welcome to the show. We get together every day. Is it around 12:15 to 2:30, depending on what we're talking about, because it could go a little bit longer, right? And depending on how involved you are, the listeners, and, we like you to call in and join the conversation, of course. Always nice to be in this seat to talk to the people. Happy International Women's Day also to all of you ladies out there that's doing the thing, taking care of business, and, just taking care, holding down the fort, taking care of the families and home and hearth, everything, right? This is a good time to recognize all of our efforts in the community and lots of great activities going on as well. So it's really good to be here on this here day. I have some guests in the studio. I'm going to go straight to them and introduce them so we can talk a little bit about what tidings they bring today. So I have representatives from Rotary Sunset. They're going to tell me exactly who they are, what their positions are. But I do have Mr. Patrick Schmid. Yes, I said it right.
You did.
And Monica Ramjeet. Hi there. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Catherine.
All right.
Thank you.
You all can tell me, what's your position? What is it that you do for Rotary Sunset right now?
I am the current president.
Okay.
The current charter president, as Rotary Sunset is a new club to the platform of Rotary clubs.
All right.
We got our charter last May 3rd, 2023. We actually started meeting as a provisional club in January of last year.
Okay.
And from there it progressed. And I'll hand over for Patrick to introduce himself.
Hi,
Good afternoon. My name is Patrick Schmid, as you already said.
Hi there.
And I am the president-elect. So as of 1st of July of this year, I'll be taking over from Monica to an extent. She'll still be there, but yes, that would be my charge.
Okay. All right. And so this is a brand new club. And I know Rotary has quite a few arms. So the first question I'll ask is, how did we get a Rotary Sunset? What's the background of that?
Well, Rotary International has started some new initiatives. It was Rotary International was the membership was like we were bringing in 1.2 million people and in the front door and 1.2 million going out the back door.
Okay.
So they're looking at ways to keep the members within the organization.
Okay.
So one of those, they've introduced several new initiatives, and one of those initiatives is corporate membership. So companies can now have their employees join as members under the umbrella of a corporate membership.
Okay.
The other big one, I think, and felt when we started the club was going to be great for a lot of younger professionals, is that they don't mandate that we have to meet every week. So like our club, we meet twice per month.
Okay.
The second Wednesday and the fourth Wednesday of the month. Okay. So those were two new initiatives that I felt we could bring more persons into Rotary under the umbrella of Rotary with a new club catering to corporate membership and just having our meetings twice a month. Of course, we still have our service projects, and which we do in conjunction. We will do service projects on a weekend or maybe some evenings, but the main meeting for the club is twice per month.
Okay. All right. That sounds good, actually. I think because when you just put that in perspective, that sometimes the commitment, people are so busy. I think people are busier than they've ever been in their lives, and you're also competing for people's attention. Yeah. You get on the internet, and you can be on Facebook for 2 hours and not even realize that you just spent 2 hours, right? Because time is just going so fast. And then you got your family obligations, your job obligations. So I think that in itself is a good, kind of luring, right? They're just me thinking, oh, twice a month, that's not so bad. Yeah. When before, many years ago, every week was nice because you didn't have as much to do. So it's nice to catch up with your friends, right? Every week and have breakfast or happy hour or whatever it was. So it's really going with the times. That's kind of what I'm hearing.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
It's also about the balance, the work-life balance.
Yes.
As you were effectively saying. So we wanted to ensure that we captured as many people, or rather, were attractive to as many people as possible, in addition to what is already being offered. So we have obviously, this is the fourth club in Grand Cayman.
Right.
There's a club in Cayman Brac. And being the fourth club in Grand Cayman, we effectively complete the sort of offering from Rotary insofar as there's a morning club, Sunrise.
Right.
And then we have the Grand Cayman Club, which meets at lunchtimes on Thursdays. And then, which is our sponsor club, by the way, and then we have Rotary Central, which meets later on in the evening on Tuesdays.
Right.
So they meet at 7:30, whereas we meet on Wednesdays, or rather the second and fourth Wednesday of each month, at 6 o'clock for 6:30 start, finishing by 7:30.
Okay.
So that way you have more of a cross section.
Is that why Sunset's the name?
Indeed.
Sunset. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. That's interesting. Because I've been invited to join quite a few times, and a couple of times I get invited to the Sunrise, and I'm like, I'm not gonna make it. I can't get there that early. So this does sound like, sunset is right after work. You just head over and sit down and chill out a little bit, right? Like a chilling moment. Yeah. So that's good. So some of the things that you do, want to talk a little bit about that. What are some of the things that you think that you might take on this year?
Okay, Catherine, we promote Rotary International's 7 areas of focus, which is promoting peace, fighting disease, providing clean water, water sanitation and hygiene, maternal and child health, supporting education, growing our local communities, and protecting the environment. Now, we as Rotary Sunset, we have been focusing on our youth, our elderly, and assisting with vocational services in the community. So we have a youth and vocational service director that's just phenomenal and has been doing so much in our community. That's Director Marie Martin. She's our Youth and Vocational Service. Everybody knows Director Marie, that she's
Right.
out there.
Yeah.
So some of the things that we have done, and, somebody said, I think it was our district governor had said, what do you want to leave as your legacy? And I say, we want to leave the fact that we are assisting our youth. We don't want to see anyone being left behind. We want to pull them up and bring them along.
Right.
And we have, right now, so many of our youth are falling through the cracks.
Absolutely.
So one of our programs that we have partnered with Feed Our Future on for this program is what we call our Earn and Learn program.
Okay.
That's where the youth will go on internships with companies, and if the company does not provide them with a stipend while they're on the internship, we as a Rotary Club, we're raising funds to provide them with a stipend because they do need to have some funds coming in as well.
For sure.
So, and like I said, we're currently partnering with Feed Our Future. We are meeting with other organizations to get them to come on board with us for this particular program. We want to reach all the youth in the Cayman Islands. We don't want to leave any of them behind. So the more companies that we get to come on board with us, the more youth we're able to assist. Right now, some of our corporate members that we have in our club right now is A.L. Thompson, Polo Bear, and 345 Equipment. So A.L. Thompson and Polo Bear have both committed to assisting us with the Earn and Learn program.
Very nice.
And they both have students on the internship program right now.
So I don't know if you know me, but you're speaking my language, by the way, because that is what I do. Like, I'm all about the young people really, being able to take their place at the table. We've prepared a table, right? And a lot of us are, looking forward to our retirement, our sit down and put your foot up and travel and stuff, and who's going to take over. So I think this is absolutely very necessary. I like that. I love the focus of that. And you're right, earn and learn, because, a lot of our young people, they have issues too, that they don't have the resources for certain things. So I think this is very attractive, and to bring people on board, because I've had conversations with Woody Foster over the years, and he's very keen on assisting. So go ahead and call Woody too.
Well, we have been in contact with Woody.
Tell him
so,
I
yes.
said, yeah. But no, for sure, he's very interested in, and he, a lot of these companies open their doors for internship opportunities, and they will pay the young people as well, which I think is amazing.
Great, yeah. So last summer we did have an internship with the Ritz, and at that time they took care of the employee, the person that we had, with the young person we had there with them, and there was a few others that we had around, and who some of the businesses do take care of them, like you said.
Well, that's
but
good.
that is one of our big projects.
Well,
that's
a big one. That's a good one. We're going to take a break on that one because I know the next one you're bringing up is going to probably match it. We're just out here needing to do these things for young people and for Cayman, for our society. So it's very, very good to have you guys in the studio this afternoon to discuss this new club. New-ish. It started last year. Yeah. Yes. Rotary Sunset. I'm here with Patrick Schmidt, who is going to be the president at some point, right? You're taking over, and with the actual sitting president now, Miss Monica Ramjeet. And thank you all so much for joining me this afternoon. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Talk Today. Catherine Tyson Sewell. We'll be back with more.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips for all occasions and celebrations. Let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
It's Digicell's 20th birthday bash, and you're invited. We are giving away 20 phones for 20 years. Win an iPhone or a Samsung smartphone as part of our anniversary celebration. Simply spend $20 or more at Digicell, or be an active postpaid customer, and you could be our lucky winner. It's our way of saying thank you for 20 incredible years of connection and support from our amazing customers like you. Don't miss out on this epic celebration. Go to your nearest Digicell store today and join the party. Digicell, better connected.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
And welcome back to Talk Today. What's on our mind this afternoon? It is Rotary Sunset, and we are talking about this new club. It started last year. I'm here with Monica Ramjeet, who is the actual president, and the incoming president is Patrick Schmidt. And thank you all so much for joining me this afternoon. Just talking about this club that is out there doing a lot of great things and partnering with people in the community. Businesses, corporate, especially with your corporate kind of arm of the club, and working along with this. So you were going to tell us about another project that you're looking at doing.
Okay, so I just wanted to add, because I didn't say before, under the Earn and Learn program, we also assist young persons with going to the Inspire Cayman, give a scholarship for them to attend Inspire Cayman. That's under our Earn and Learn program as well, to prepare them for the workplace.
Okay. And that's a wide range of programs that they offer. So, there's virtually something for everyone.
All right. I'm very familiar with Inspire Cayman training.
We've worked with parents to get their kids from 3 years, so from actually months old to 3 years old to get them situated in childcare so the parents can go back to work. Some of them into preschool.
Is there a name of that program or project?
That's just under our youth.
Okay. Do you have like kind of different arms?
Yeah, well, the youth, we have a lot that goes on under youth services. So that's one of our youth, vocational service, community service, international service. These are all, we have like directors that deal with the various areas. So, and another program that's very near and dear to my heart is our seniors. We work with the seniors as well. And the hub that was recently opened, and they have the seniors there. I think it's once a month. I think
you're referring to the Georgetown
yes.
seniors group,
right?
Yeah.
I think Miss Doreen Welcome was on
Correct.
this morning, and she thanked our club for assisting with the program for them. So we did lunch, I believe it was lunch for them a few weeks ago. We will be taking control of that program for a day with the seniors, where we plan to have people come in and do their hair, do their nails, have
nice.
games for them, have a meal. So yeah, that's another program that we're involved with. Some of the things that we do internationally, we've been working with getting school supplies and clothes to children in Kenya.
All right, nice.
We've assisted in Jamaica, which is closer to home, a Rotary Club of Christiana in Jamaica. They have a young lady that she had a stroke and wasn't able to walk. She's in a wheelchair. She needed therapy. So our club assisted with some funding for that. We were doing a scholarship for one student in Guatemala, and our hand wash program in Haiti.
What's that?
So
I'll give the president-elect a chance to speak.
All right, great.
So basically, of course, as President Monica has said, it's a broad cross-section of programs that Rotary is involved with. Rotary Sunset is involved with as a Rotary Club. We have the various different areas, including our main focus, which is, of course, local community service, but international service is certainly a major area of concentration as well. And in regards to the hand wash program, hand wash is a program in Haiti, which focuses on providing clean water to persons living there.
Nice.
And in fact, most, if not all of the clubs locally are involved in that program. So you'll have probably, in the listening public, will have probably heard of the program from a number of different other Rotary clubs locally speaking about their particular involvement. So it is one of the many international programs that we're involved with, but this is a long-term project, so it spans various Rotary administrations, and certainly our club, being a new club, is also involved in that. But in addition to that, moving off the international for a second and just perhaps mentioning quickly a few others, which are going to be the focal points of our community raffle that we have just launched, and we are trying to raise funds that focus specifically on particular projects. 100% of the funds are going to these community projects. So we've already talked about the Earn and Learn program, but we also have the Adopt a School program with the Sharon Marie Martin Georgetown Primary School,
right?
The Food Bank Project, the Cayman Islands Crisis Center, so supporting their ongoing efforts. Of course, mental health issues generally is a major focal point for our district governor, who happens to be District Governor Kirkcaldy, who is from the Cayman Islands, of course. Okay. And so we are trying to do our best. In fact, we have a person specifically appointed for the purposes of leading the mental health programs within the club. We also have support for the Sunrise Adult Training Center, support for the NCVO, the Nadine Andreas Children's Home,
right,
as well as President Monica has mentioned, Feed Our Future. And so we have quite a lot going on for a small club.
Are you trying to shut down the other clubs? I love it. I love that. It's just a joke, by the way. I love that because, you know, all hands, you know, on deck. And you know, this is how we're going to make a difference with everybody just working in all the areas, you know, trying to just ignite some change and ensure that our future is secure.
Yes.
So, yeah, I like that very much so.
So, in order to fund all of these programs, that's why we had to come up with a fundraiser. And we know people like to make money.
Yeah.
So, our big fundraiser is it's not as big as Central's, but it's big for us as a new club, a smaller club. We have, as I was saying to you, we started the club with 26 members last year.
I mean, that's a good number to start something with.
And we're now up to 29.
All right.
And we have 3 persons that are potential members. So they are hoping they've been coming to the meetings and they're very interested and would like to join us. So, so before the end of this Rotary year, we will be I am going to put my hat a little higher and say by the end of this Rotary year, which is June 30th, we're going to be at 35 members.
All right.
So.
That shouldn't be hard to do. And is there an age and I'm not asking if they're, you know, if you're older, I'm talking about what age it starts at really. Because I mean, I'm sure if you're still able to do something, you can join at any age. But what's the starting age? Just because we were talking about the youth, so I wanted to find out about that.
Right. So before, it used to be to join Rotary, you had to be 30 years old.
Right.
And we have Rotaract, which goes from 18 to 30.
Oh,
but
okay.
More recently, that was a change at Rotary International as well. So now Rotaractors can be Rotarians.
Okay.
So there's no age limit on being a Rotaractor, and there's no age limit to start when you can become a Rotarian. Now, you'll find that some of the younger persons at 20, 22, you may not be in that position financially to afford the dues and the other financial commitments of a Rotary Club. So they may still want to continue with their younger group of Rotaractors.
Okay, all right.
But as it stands right now, there's really no age.
Okay. So in saying that, then you do have dues and you do have financial kind of expectations. So
Yes.
what are those?
So the dues for Rotary Sunset, and I think within the island it's around the same ballpark. Our dues is 300 CI per year.
Per year.
Now the dues from the members, that's what we use for administrative costs. Because we also have to pay dues to Rotary International. We have to pay dues to the district.
Right.
So the membership dues, we do not use funds raised from the community
for
dues. Any of these.
Those are personal.
Any of these dues, right?
Yeah.
And then other things, when we meet, you have a meal or a drink. Those are all
That's your responsibility.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
any other?
I was just going to say that most of the funds that Rotary clubs expend, in fact, all of the funds that Rotary clubs expend are typically either contributions of individual members or fundraising directly from the community, because that fundraising is specifically and entirely going towards projects. We never ever take any administration costs out of the fundraising, and I think that's an important point to bear in mind in terms of promoting any Rotary fundraising effort. And in particular, now that we've actually launched our own raffle, which, by the way, the grand prize is $10,000 CI dollars.
All right, can I just just stick a pin, as they say,
yes.
Because we're going to take a break and we're going to come back because I really want to talk about that. I want people to know that's a couple of lunches.
Yes, it is. It's a few.
So we all want to get involved with that. So let me just go ahead and take a quick break. We're listening to Talk Today. I'm talking with Rotary Sunset, Patrick Schmidt, and Monica Ramjeet. We're talking about all good things Rotary Sunset and how you can be involved as well. But we're talking about a fundraiser that sounds like, we all want to get involved with that. So just stay tuned. We'll be back with more Talk Today right after this.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what, though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips for all occasions and celebrations. Let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
This is Ronnie Anglin. I work in the water sports industry. I'm concerned that our islands are at a high risk of coral bleaching and coral disease outbreaks. Rising sea levels, sea temperatures, and ocean acidification have caused catastrophic increases in the number and severity of coral bleaching events, disease, and death. Snorkeling and diving may one day not be an option. To learn more about climate risk to our islands, visit www.gov.ky/climate change policy.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
And welcome back to Talk Today. Catherine Tyson Sewell, I'm sitting in for Sterling this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. Having a great conversation here with our Rotary Sunset. I don't know, it's the tongue thing. Something's happening, but Rotary Sunset is a fairly new arm of Rotary, right? You would call it. And speaking with the president, Monica Ramjeet, as well as the incoming president, Mr. Patrick Schmid, and just talking about the new club and talking about all the efforts, fundraising efforts, as well as the projects that they're working on. All sounds great. The question I would ask is, we're going to talk about the fundraiser, which is a raffle that the community must be involved with because the prizes are amazing. But I just wanted to find out if people listening right now or they've heard about it, how can they get involved? How can they reach out to see, well, I want to join, because your goal is 35 by the end of June. So how could those 5 people that are listening right now say, I want to join, sounds amazing? How can they really get the information and maybe be a part of it?
Okay. Well, first of all, they have to attend some of our meetings. So they can reach out to myself or President-elect Patrick or any of our 29 members. Or if they just want to find out more, they can show up to one of our meetings. We meet at Bonfire Restaurant at Locale Hotel.
Okay.
And we meet the second Wednesday and the fourth Wednesday of the month.
All right. Second and fourth Wednesday of each month.
At 6 p.m.
At 6 p.m. at Bonfire. All right.
Yes.
And they can just show up there and get the information. Because you have, basically what I just heard is that you got to take a look at people for a little while before you just let them join your club.
Exactly. They got to come to a few meetings. They got to show that they're interested in what we're doing in the community. They got to come to some community projects, or one of our other projects that we do with the young persons or the seniors. So, they got to show that they're interested. It's not just turning up to our meetings and saying, "No, I've been to a Rotary meeting and that's it."
Yeah.
So
I'm a part of Rotary. No, not quite. I think this is an awesome opportunity to really be involved with something that is enriching to the community, and it's helping everyone basically, because what you talked about earlier, Patrick, when you went down kind of the list, as well as you, Miss Monica, you talked about all of the different areas that your hands are in, and it's I'm a social worker by profession, so our whole thing was from the cradle to the grave, literally, and all in between. So every single one of us that's living, right, require something. And so when you start talking about all the things that you're actually doing that address not only the young people, but also the seniors, and also, people that are in need of school stuff or food or whatever, like that's really important, so kudos to you guys. Congrats on that. And I'm excited. I'm very excited about that, We do have a caller, so I'll go to the phones if that works. Okay. Good afternoon, caller. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Catherine.
Hi there.
Yeah, and good afternoon to you guests too.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Yeah, I just calling to say that I think you all made the right choice when you chose Patrick. He's a very intelligent human being, and he's a Caymanian, and he loves his Caymanians very much. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Well,
thank you. I'm Caymanian too.
Yes, you have a fan. Well, absolutely, you are Miss Ramjeet. Everybody knows that name. I walked through the door, I was like, Marsha's sister. So yes, your family has been a pillar in our community for many, many years. Of course, you're Mariah Tibbetts' aunt, too.
Yes.
See, I'm going to drop names in here, because for 1 year of my life, I was Caitlin Tyson's mother. I was not Catherine Tyson anymore. Are you Miss Kim-Ann's mother? So I'm going to say you are Miss Mariah Tibbetts, one of our Miss Universe Cayman Islands representatives and beautiful ambassadors. You're her aunt. So, yeah, we know you too, Miss Monica. Don't worry. But it's nice when people in the community can call and say, that is the right person for it. That's great. That means that your record speaks for itself. You know, your resume speaks for itself. So you're right in the right place where you need to be.
But
and you'll be, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that, and thank you for that, and thank the caller for that as well. But I mean, I realistically think that each person in the community has something to add, and once they feel that they are able to actually spare the time to contribute towards the community, and it is actually possible to strike that balance, and it is important to get involved, because we all have an obligation to keep our community to make our community as good of a place as possible to live in, and to make it a good place for the children that are coming behind us to live in as well. And so I think it's just all about, we'll never do everything perfectly, but if we can make that effort and achieve certain goals, well then all the better for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's talk about this fundraiser, this raffle.
Yes. So the raffle is our first annual, hopefully, community projects raffle, and so it is the first annual Rotary Sunset raffle. We just got our tickets in, and the tickets have already gone on sale, but we're launching properly next week. And the actual draw date is Saturday, May the 25th, and we're going to have a website specifically dedicated to the raffle, as well as an email where people can, contact us to ask any questions that they might have relating to the raffle. But basically, that website is rotarysunsetraffle.org. It's not up yet, but it will be up probably next week at some point. Okay. And as I mentioned, the tickets are going on sale next week as well. Some have already gone on sale. We've certainly sent a batch over to Kim and Brack this morning. Okay. And so the Brack is already in on it as well. But the first prize for the raffle is 10,000 CI dollars. There's also a second prize, 2,500, and the third prize is 1,000. There's a seller's prize, that is the person who sells the winning ticket, will also be awarded $1,000. Okay. And so there are funds to be gained by participating, but more importantly, those $10 tickets all go. Every single sale of every single ticket goes entirely towards the projects that are stated on the back of the ticket as being community projects, which focus on the main areas of focus for us, which include things like the vocational program, the Earn and Learn program.
Okay, so question, it says on the flyer that I'm reading, you do not have to be physically present to win. That's what is happening on May 25th? So May
25th, the event is really not an entertainment event. It is going to be an online as well as publicly available drawing of the tickets.
But it'll be on that date.
Yes.
Okay, great. Also, what are your social media handles? Can people find you on Instagram, Facebook, anything like that?
We are on Facebook, and we also have a web page as well. The club has a web page, and that's run through our club runner, which is a dedicated Rotary-based software program. Okay. But we are developing additional social media presence.
What's your Facebook page called?
So you just have to, when you're in Facebook, you just have to do Rotary Sunset Cayman in your search, and it will come up.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So for me personally, this is a call out for a young person, a person that is let's see, between the age of 25 and 35 to get on board with Rotary Sunset so they can hook you up with all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yes, because we're strong in what we're strong in, but they're strong in what they're strong in. And that's the thing, like being able to click and see everything that you're doing online is really, really important. So this is awesome. Raffle for our community. The draw will be Saturday, May 25th. And the tickets are very affordable, $10, 3 for $25, 5 for $40. I mean, there's no reason why everybody shouldn't take a stab at this, but also because it's for a good cause anyway.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for joining me this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It has been awesome speaking with you. I'm very excited about this club. I've been invited a couple of times by one of your 29 members, and so I
have some tickets here for you, by the way.
You do? What is that? The
raffle
tickets. It's not starting today. I'll call you tomorrow. I'm always involved. But second and fourth, a Wednesday of every month at Bonfire. And that's right, the restaurant by Locale, the hotel across from the gas station, Pizza Hut, all those places. Because I'm old from Cayman, so I get to down the street from so and so. It's at 6 p.m. So if you're interested, go out there and you'll be able to see Miss Monica and Mr. Patrick himself, and get some information about this and see if you can be a part of something amazing.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I just want to say, we just say again that our club was sponsored by the Rotary Club of Grand Cayman, the mother club in the Cayman Islands, the first club that was started here. And just to leave the public with the fact that we, as Rotary Sunset, we're comprised of dedicated professionals who share a passion for community service and friendship. Members are committed to making a positive change in our community.
Absolutely.
Thank you all for listening.
Thank you. And thank you all so much. Your message was very clear that is exactly what you do. And I am going to be sending out great signals into the universe so you can get your 35 members by June 30th. I thought you're going to get 45, honey. I know after this, please, it's amazing. But yes, and definitely look out for the raffle tickets and support all of these projects. Thank you all so much once again for joining me this afternoon. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more talk today. Just stay tuned.
Information, entertainment, inspiration.
Covering Grand Cayman, Little Cayman, Cayman Brac.
Since 1976 till now.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
Local, regional, international news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Cayman Islands government will commemorate Commonwealth Day on Monday, March 11th, with a flag-raising ceremony at the Government Administration Building on Elgin Avenue starting 9:45 a.m. In international news, a spike in UFO sightings in the 1960s was likely caused by tests of advanced U.S. spy planes and space technology, a Pentagon report has concluded. The findings, submitted in a report to Congress on Friday, also said there was no evidence that the U.S. government had interactions with aliens. Most sightings of UFOs or unidentified anomalous phenomena were ordinary objects, officials said, but they accepted the report wouldn't quell popular beliefs of alien guests. North Korea has used the COVID-19 pandemic to seal up its northern border with China. New images from a leading human rights group show Human Rights Watch describes a situation which has seen intensifying repression with drastically reduced cross-border movement and trade. In the research, North Koreans spoke of the increasingly restrictive measures. UN member states should immediately address North Korea's isolation and humanitarian crisis, HRW stresses. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
The Health Services Authority has over 120 world-class physicians offering the most comprehensive range of specialist services on island. Our dedicated team of professionals provide the highest quality care in orthopedics, interventional radiology, women's health, geriatrics, and a host of other specialist areas. We are a JCI accredited organization with a proven record of excellence. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you. For more information, visit hsa.ky.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Fortescue, Eddington Arch, 1909-1971.
Pastor Fortescue Eddingston Arch, better known as Brother Fossey, was one of 11 children born to James Heber and Virginia Arch. In 1933, he was converted in the Church of God, Full Gospel Hall, and in 1946 was appointed General Overseer of the churches of the Cayman Islands and the Bay Islands. He was the loving husband of Gloria, and after her sudden death in 1956, he married her sister, Helen. He was instrumental in the establishment of the various branches of the church and involved in the acquisition of property, finance, and construction of the church's buildings. He was a well-known and talented carpenter and shipwright, a successful realtor, and a merchant. He was also a generous, kind-hearted, and friendly person who always assisted the less fortunate in any way he could.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your Sister Islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Just have a conversation.
And welcome back to Talk Today. We're just having a conversation for real. Thank you all so much for joining me this afternoon. Catherine Tyson Sewell, I'm sitting in for Sterling. And always, enjoy the hot seat a little bit just to bring you information, to talk about what's going on in our community and to keep you in the know. And so this panel that I have this afternoon is definitely all about trying to keep people in the know for a very hot topic. So I'm just going to introduce you guys and just let you get started and do what you came to do. The chairperson of the Minimum Wage Advisory Committee. Yes, hot topic. Mr. Lemuel Hurlston. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good to see you. Been a while.
Yeah.
Yes, and Miss Maureen Nobby.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say it right?
Yes.
All right, doing all right. Committee member representing the Business and Professional Women's Club, and Mr. Shamari Scott, no stranger to Cayman Public. Also, a committee member representing the Chamber of Commerce. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome. Okay, hot topic. Anyone can get started.
Okay, well, the Minimum Wage Advisory Committee worked for 9 months in 2023, starting in January, and we met every week for that period of time. We took input from the various economic sectors of our economy. All stakeholders were invited to make presentations to the committee. We had a tremendous amount of information provided by the Economic and Statistics Office about economic data. And then we did some public consultations, and then we wrote a report, which we submitted to the government at the end of October 2023. That report is now 8 years almost since the last minimum wage report was submitted. So having waited 8 years for a report, one can understand that there's a certain amount of anticipation in the community.
Right.
So we submitted our report. The government has not yet indicated whether it's going to accept our recommendations or whether they're going to modify our recommendations in some way or modify our recommended implementation schedule timeline. So what is happening now is that they're going to have another month for the public, opportunity for the public to have more input and discussion on this hot topic.
Okay.
And then the government will decide what they want to do
Okay. All right.
That's where we are.
Yeah. So, it kind of sounds like a Cayman thing sometimes, that people don't realize how long you've been working on a particular, subject. And then when it comes out, everybody's kind of like, huh? What happened? And it's been years in the making, right? Because I know I heard about minimum wage, I know 3, 4, 5 years ago that we thought it had actually passed, because sometimes the general public thinks that something has happened and it has not happened. And there's a lot of buzz going on about minimum wage right now. So how when you talk about the people that were kind of contributors to it, because you mentioned that you have 18 members that are on the committee. Yeah, so it's not just 3 people, it's a lot of people. They're all showing up for the meetings. Have the input.
Yes, we had an excellent attendance record.
Okay, great. As well as you had.
And Catherine, just to mention that you have to give flowers to people when they're alive. I just have to commend Mr. Lem on the stellar job he did as the chairperson. And he really was one of the connectors, because he was also the chair on the last minimum wage committee when the law was enacted at $6. And if you read through that report, it was so very well done then. And the fact that he was able to actually corral the majority of 18 persons I've put it into my recesses. It was Mondays, right? Yeah. Every Monday at 3 o'clock, if I recall now, over close to many months, close to a year,
more than that,
right? That we would have been there, and every meeting was valuable in regard to, as Mr. Lem said, in regard to all of the different components, whether it was presentations from pensions, presentations were from sometimes obviously the Chamber of Commerce, from CITA, from all of the different government stakeholders, NAU, across the board, so that the different members that were a part of that actual committee could get a good appreciation of all of the different aspects to take into account. And then obviously from a scientific perspective, ESO was there as the data and brains behind any analysis that needed to be done. And Mr. Lem did a great job herding the cats and to get us to a point where we're proud. Now, we wouldn't have always agreed, but we got to a point where it was fair, right, in regards to the recommendation that was made based on hearing everybody's input and all of the different organizations' input. I know we look forward now to even additional commentary from the public, because Maureen sold herself short. She actually was in charge of the subcommittee that did all of the research and the such, and then got over 5,000?
Yeah, 5,000 survey responses, and we actually had engagement and commentary from over 10,000 people in the process, which is fantastic.
So it's great to have that commentary, but a lot of times people will say they didn't miss it or they didn't know, even though it was on every platform we could think of. So the fact that, the government is still, even after the report is done, making sure we're having this conversation, so that if anything was missed, anybody who, now that they're reading articles in the Compass and elsewhere, anybody who thinks they want to get their opinion across, now that a number is out there, definitely we all look forward to hearing that as well.
Yeah, for sure. And that's good, to say that, because a lot of times, I find that people really will, after the fact, kind of talk about, well, I didn't know it was going on, and who made this decision, and it affects us all, and why wasn't I involved? So now you're saying there's an opportunity, which the government is given an opportunity for feedback from the general public.
Another opportunity.
Another.
Yes.
Yes, another. I don't know if it's just knocking on doors. I think, you know what, and this is kind of maybe simplifying something that is very complicated, but I always think about it like this. I always think when it's election time, people are at your door. I see them all. They're knocking, there's flyers, there's representatives. So if it has to take something like that, then when it comes to really important things, then do it, right? Because it is important, and everybody is affected. So I just got a little WhatsApp from somebody. I'm just gonna read it. basically, or the gist of it, because it's quite long. The gist of it is that all of these changes, when it comes to minimum wage, are great, but there's no change in salary. So who's talking about that, right?
It's quite understandable that some people will confuse cost of living issues with minimum wage.
Right.
We tried as far as possible to stay in our minimum wage lane, but nevertheless, inevitably, you get crossovers and you get multifaceted components that touch on items of cost of living. And minimum wage is a sort of an income driver for a sector of our population, but cost of living is a separate issue that combines income with expenditures.
Right.
And we are concentrating at the moment on minimum wage, which is the absolute minimum that anyone legally can be employed in the country. You can employ someone for more than a minimum wage, but not less.
Okay. And thanks for clarifying that, because I think that is what the message was inferring, that cost of living is
an issue.
Is the challenge. Yeah.
Yes.
And I know, like, I was having a discussion with a few people last week, and they were business owners, and they were talking about having to make changes to the cost of their products now, but to match the minimum wage. If they have to start paying more, then they have to get it back somehow, and businesses will hurt because of that. So everybody is affected. So I think that's what they're referring to. So thank you for clarifying that. I do have a couple of callers. Are you all okay with callers?
Sure.
We're going to go to the phones. And welcome. You're on Talk Today. Good afternoon. Welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon.
Hi there.
Yes, I wasn't sure whether I was on or not.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And good afternoon to the other panelists there. I'm not sure I remember their names, but it comes with age. I'm glad you said that the difference here, Mr. Lamb, between cost of living and minimum wage. I don't understand why many Caymanians have lived and worked abroad, as I've done years, and minimum wage is something that's there in every country. So that's exactly what it is, the minimum wage at which anyone can live. What has really disappointed me, and I remain still perplexed at why it took so long to get this to the board, to the our elected representatives, Parliament, get this meetings and so forth done. Not your fault at all. You know what it's all about and what's behind it. But and then now we're going to wait again. When our elected representatives well know if they're tracking their people, as Mr. Tyson saying that they're always up in your face when election time comes. But that's not for me to talk about. What we've got to understand, look at Bermuda. They've been half $12.50 an hour U.S. for there. We know they're on par with the U.S. Their money is, I believe. You're an accountant. You know all about that for them. And then they're raising theirs now. And I don't think they're going to go through all this to do it. Their elected Parliament will go ahead and do it. They have a slightly more advanced constitution than we have. I don't know why we don't have something like theirs, but I'm not going to talk about that now. I have my own opinion on that. And we have a problem here. It's no use denying it. To enforce it, what we have is a very unique type of system of government and system of taxation. We have no direct income tax, which is one of the key things that forces the private sector to do certain things because they're accountable to the government when they have to make up returns at the end of the year. It doesn't have to be corporate, but they're owned by people, and those people have to make up a tax return in those countries. I know Bermuda is looking at putting in corporate taxes now. Maybe they're putting it already. I'm not sure. But it really doesn't matter. But the other thing is this, and which is very important. People talk about different rates of minimum wage across the board for this one, for that profession. That's nonsense. Those things are handled by labor unions. That's what you have labor unions for, and that's what you have trade or labor unions. The accounting profession has their union, as we all know. There's a professional accountants association, which is a union. The lawyers have theirs, Bar Association and the Association of Lawyers and so forth. And every big trade, the financial world has theirs, the Finance Association, and so forth and so on. And they have, those are unions, and the Chamber of Commerce is the employers' union. It's the employers' union. So they all have their ability to do what they like with their finances and how they're going to arrange them. But we don't have any labor unions here. So there is another problem there. But when people say, well, what's about the salaries? The salaries will be arranged by when people get together and have an association, labor unions, trade unions. But they have not been allowed to happen. And we know that. We can always cover it up under the rug and say, well, we know we could do it. No, we know we can't, why it hasn't been done. The same powerful private sector has kept that. I may lose my job for saying what I'm saying, but what has happened to us is that we have allowed the private sector to call the shots here instead of our elected representatives calling the shots, and then the private sector will comply. No one is going to comply with anything if they don't have to. They'll always find ways to get around it. Once you don't have that direct income tax to abate, it'll be almost impossible to enforce it. I know what I'm saying, and I believe in what I'm saying, and it will get across to people eventually. The other thing is we have no labor union, so we can't force them, employers, to do something about whether they're going to change the rates on pay on the different professions, which is not minimum wage agenda or criteria that you all are responsible for. I know that.
Right.
But these are two problems. There are two problems. And the major one, as I see, in trying to enforce it, I don't know why it took all this time, and it's going to still take more time, which means that it may be put off for a couple more years. I don't see why it has to take that time again for them to peruse this. They're there. It's simply a matter of courage. Have a wonderful day. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for calling this afternoon. We do have some more callers. If you wanted to respond to that caller, or
yes, I think we should comment on that.
Okay.
The Economic and Statistics Office does carry out some annual surveys of businesses, and in those surveys they do capture some pertinent economic data, which completes the picture as to what is affordable within our economy. And yes, it is true that Cayman has a different economic model than many other countries with a system of no direct taxation, but that does not mean that we do not pay indirect taxation.
Right.
So we do have a different system, a different model, and generally speaking, it has worked well for Cayman and for Caymanians. So every country has to decide what is best for itself,
right?
And that's the purview of our elected representatives to represent us.
Yes.
It is true too that we've had several delays in dealing with this particular matter, but it is so important that I think the government wants to try and get it right. And if they want to try and get it right, and it takes a little longer to get it right, then so be it. We're only here to advise. We're not here to decide.
Right.
And
right.
so we give the best advice that we can give, and then the government decides what they want to do with that
right.
advice.
You're doing what's asked of you. And
Yes.
and that's all that anyone can expect, right?
Sure.
We're going to go back to the phones. Good afternoon, caller. You're on Talk Today.
Yeah. Good afternoon. How are you all?
Very well, thank you.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. Is that Mr. Lemuel Holston?
Yes, it is.
Okay, it's been a long time. Do you still live on the island, sir?
Yes, I do. I live in South Sound.
Okay. Home up your board. Good afternoon. Is Mr. Shamara Scott there as well?
Yes.
Yes, I am.
As well as we have
good
Miss
evening,
Maureen
Mr.
Darby.
I know Miss Catherine Tyson, so I know how to deal with her. I know her good.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Mr. Shamari.
Yes, sir.
The guy Mr. Lemho is after because he forgot about me when we used to go to school. But it's very
I haven't forgotten.
If you could give me a call, sir, at 924-2778, Mr. Shamari.
Okay, no problem.
Yes, sir. It's
got the number.
Because off the show and you got a time.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. Thanks for hearing you folks.
Thank you.
I think you're all Humanians. Have a good evening.
Thank you so much. Thanks for that call. You got the number, Shamari?
No problem. No, I did not. I saw you writing it down, though. Were you not writing it down? I saw you jotting it down. So.
Okay. I got it.
Okay, you got it?
I got it.
All right.
Because
okay.
I'm that girl.
All right.
You're on it. We have another caller. Okay. We have another caller. You're very confident in me. I like that.
I saw you writing it down, so I'm like, all right.
I could have been doodling, looking like I'm writing something. I have another caller on the line. We'll go to the phones. Good afternoon, caller. I think this is a WhatsApp call. A regular call? Okay. Good afternoon, caller. You're on Talk Today.
Yeah, good afternoon to you all.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
When it comes to the minimum wage, I asked a security guard from the Philippines how much he would pay for a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, upstairs cement house in the Philippines. And he said $40,000 US.
To purchase?
Yes, in the Philippines.
Okay.
And I asked a guy from the Philippines how much he was paying for rent in the Cayman Islands. And he said $75 a month. And I asked a gentleman from Nepal if he had any plans on building a house in Cayman. He said he wouldn't even think about it. So when it comes to this minimum wage, it's helping people on work permits more than it's helping its own Caymanians. And the only way to change that is in the assembly building. And we all know Caymanians should be making more than them. We know that. Because we cannot afford to pay $75 a month for rent. We cannot afford to pay $40,000 US for a 4-bedroom, 2-bath cement house. We cannot afford to go to another country to live and leave our own country. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you
so
for
much
the call.
for that call. I think basically what the caller was saying is that we're not able to pay $75 a month for rent in Cayman, and we're not able to purchase property for $40,000 a month US, right? And we're not moving to the Philippines. I'm thinking about moving to the Philippines based on what he just said. But, he made a great point, right?
Yes.
And I think that in itself would probably require some other
discussion.
Yeah, another discussion, but also the government making some other decisions that they're able to do that and it not be across the board. I think that also lends to an issue, right? If you're saying, well, the Caymanians will make this, but the people from other places will make that, that's going to be a very slippery slope.
As well as you incentivize people to hire when you're a business. And
Yeah.
you're looking for the least amount of cost as a work input towards making your business work. If you have that differentiation within the same category, you're actually incentivizing people to hire persons from overseas versus locally. But I just wanted to make the point that the Minimum Wage Committee had a mandate, and that mandate was to look at the most vulnerable within our society in regards to a minimum wage. So what's a fair wage for the potentially unskilled labor that would be conducted. And that really was the premise of what we were looking at.
Absolutely.
And when you look at minimum wage, it's also about what's doing the right thing. And I think we also should remember that it wasn't too long ago that our forefathers actually had to be guest workers elsewhere.
Right.
And if we are happy or not happy, depending on the circumstance in regards to how they were treated overseas, we shouldn't be committing some of the same sins that potentially would have been made against our forefathers.
Right.
And understanding that it's a delicate balance that needs to happen. I think one of the items that we definitely wanted to get out on the radio program here is that the proposed minimum wage is $8.75 to start. Mr. Lem, with his stewardship, made sure to put in, at the point in time when we gave the report, to put in enough time for businesses to adjust for that.
Right.
And then also, and I know we'll probably touch on it as well, some of the main components that would be new in this go-round is in regards to gratuities and the phasing out of gratuities. So Mr. Lem and Maureen would be able to speak about that, as well as to answer the first caller's question when he was talking about labor unions and the such and wages. But from a minimum wage perspective, Mr. Lem and the committee, in our wisdom, thought to put in a mechanism that's tied to CPI so that every 2 years, depending on certain factors, there would be an increase or it would stay steady, but you wouldn't have to wait for a committee to be formed as well. So I think those are important components for us to also discuss when we're here.
Right. And remind the public of what CPI means.
It is the Consumer Price Index.
Okay.
So, I mean, I won't put my Economics 101 hat on, but it just really impacts in regards to inflation and other areas. And with the data scientists, you're able to make decisions that gives you the best probability of not causing some of those negative effects, such as inflation, which has another host of other issues.
Right. We're going to take a quick break. Before we go to break, I just wanted to also comment in terms of if a decision can be made, as opposed to across the board, that Caymanian workers are paid different than foreign workers, right? Like you said, it's kind of incentivizing businesses to hire the lower cost, right? But even in the event that they hire two people doing the same job and then pay those people different, that's going to be a big problem. So you can't pay somebody from the Philippines $5 an hour because they can buy a $40,000 U.S. house in the Philippines and pay a Caymanian $875 to do the same exact job. That is going to be a problem. And so, when we try to come up with solutions for problems, we really do have to look from a broad scope, right? Everything is not just so easy to just solve. Let's just do this because of that, because it doesn't work like that. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, obviously, when we come back. Thank you all so much for joining me this afternoon. I'm here with the Minimum Wage Advisory Committee, 3 members, actually, the president, Mr. Lemuel Hurlson, the chairperson, as well as 2 committee members, Mr. Shamari Scott, who is representing the Chamber of Commerce, as well as Maureen Nobby, who is representing the Business and Professional Women's Club. And we're talking all things minimum wage. You want to stay tuned? You want to also call and get in on this conversation? Please do so after the break. We'll be back with more.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymanational.com today.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I go in flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old girl.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
It's Digicel's 20th birthday bash, and you're invited. We are giving away 20 phones for 20 years. Win an iPhone or a Samsung smartphone as part of our anniversary celebration. Simply spend $20 or more at Digicel, or be an active postpaid customer, and you could be our lucky winner. It's our way of saying thank you for 20 incredible years of connection and support from our amazing customers like you. Don't miss out on this epic celebration. Go to your nearest Digicel store today and join the party. Digicel, better connected.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Cayman Turtle Center is doing it again. Get ready to crawl, walk, or run. Lace up your sneakers and join us as we stride for conservation on March 17th at the 4th Annual Turtle Crawl 5K Walk Run, hosted by the Cayman Turtle Center. For just $25, you can be a part of this incredible event with every step you take supporting the conservation efforts for the majestic green sea turtles of the Cayman Islands. Sign up today at turtlecrawl.ky and secure your spot in this unforgettable experience. We extend a huge thank you to our amazing sponsors: Advanced Fire and Plumbing, CG Britke, CUC, Gatorade, DMS Broadcasting, Blue Water Medical Supplies, Yanni's Photography, Double M Distribution, Corporate Electric, Cryo 345, and Radio Cayman. Join us bright and early on Sunday, March 17th at 6:30 a.m. at the Cayman Turtle Center. Register now and don't miss out on the fun.
Interested in learning more about inclusion, diversity, and equity? On March 11th, 12th, and 13th, equity consultant Desiree Phillips will host 3 workshops designed to teach participants the foundation of diversity and inclusion, challenge them to reimagine self-care, or enlighten them on how identity and experience shape vulnerable populations served within the helping professions. All workshops are free to the public through the Family Resource Center. Registration is required. To view their Honoring Women Month calendar, visit frc.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
And welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. In with the Minimum Wage Advisory Committee, some of the members were discussing the minimum wage and the decisions that have been made. The chairperson is in the studio, Lemuel Hurlston, Ms. Maureen Nobby, and Mrs. Shamari Scott. They're both committee members. And it was 18 strong. 18 strong, just to let you know. It's not these 3 that were scratching their head and trying to burn the midnight oil, trying to figure out what are we going to do. I have a question that came in from WhatsApp. I'm going to read that. Good afternoon, panel. I have a question. Why is there not a minimum wage for skilled and unskilled workers? Everyone across the board is $8.75 per hour. And I think, Shamar, you answered that. So I'll finish the question. To prove my point, please review the job advertisements on work.ky from unskilled to skilled workers requirements. Why wasn't NAU and Work Employment Services Unit invited to have a seat at the minimum wage committee table? Next question, will people with degrees be subjected to the $8.75? And we have a couple of callers, so let's go ahead and address that.
I think in terms of being invited to the table, one of the really important things we want to highlight is that through this entire process, it was an open call to organizations, to government bodies, to individuals to provide commentary. And NAU and Work did come and actually do presentations for us. They took us up on that offer, and they looked at the populations that they engage with that relate to minimum wage, if it were to change, how that might change the work that they do. So we did get a lot of information, insights from them. They didn't formally have a seat at the table, but we absolutely engaged with them and got their feedback and thoughts on what this might mean and these changes might mean for the work that they do in the day-to-day.
Okay. Do you think them having a seat at the table would have made a difference if they were a part of the 18?
Well, let's look at how the committee was comprised. A third of the committee represented employers, a third of the committee represented employees, and a third of the committee represented independent members and civil society. So we had 3/3, almost equally divided in number, represented on the committee. And so it was a sort of a tripartite configuration. And I don't think we could have gotten a fairer balance with 18 people than what we had.
Okay.
And the persons who represented entities represented their entities very ably. Shamari, for example, is a past president of the Chamber of Commerce,
Right.
Very experienced, high-level thinker. The vice president of the Tourism Association, Wendy Dakin, Wendy Moore, was part of our committee. So we had good quality representation at a very high level on our committee, and we stand by our recommendation. We stand by the quality of our work product, and when people read the report carefully and keenly, I think they'll see that there was a certain amount of integrity that was associated with our recommendations.
Right.
And we had representatives from, even though they weren't officially on the committee, from the Ministry of Labor that were there with us every step of the way.
Yes.
That obviously those agencies fall under, the work falls under that purview as well. So I think when it came to understanding all of the views of how to derive this number, it was probably gave us the best probability to get to a number that we can all stand behind as a collective group.
Okay.
And there was also a mechanism within that allowed for minority reports. So Mr. Lem was understanding how difficult this was going to be, and that at some point in time, if there was an agency and or a sector that felt strongly about making sure that their position was tabled, minority reports were actually allowed as well.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And in addressing the actual question about skilled and unskilled workers and the 875, as well as people with degrees, what's the response to that?
It's not practical for us to divide up the minimum wage into those kind of categories, because minimum wage really is generally applicable to unskilled labor.
Right.
And when you look at the breakdown of people who are currently earning minimum wage, you find that they are unskilled persons.
Right.
And if you look more closely, you'll find that the majority of people who will benefit from this minimum wage are going to be non-Caymanians in that unskilled category.
Right.
And just like on the previous occasion when we first introduced the $6 an hour, the majority of the beneficiaries under that scheme were non-Caymanians,
Okay.
as are going to be the beneficiaries under this present recommendation. They're going to be non-Caymanians who are going to benefit.
Okay, so then the obvious questions for me would be if non-Caymanians are going to benefit from it, then how does it help that we now have we're looking at changing it. In fact, raising it to $2.75. How is it that if Caymanians are not going to be the beneficiaries of it?
Let me put it another way. Caymanians are already earning in excess of the minimum wage.
Okay.
Those that are working are already earning more than minimum wage.
Okay.
So quite frankly, it does not affect a lot of them.
Okay.
But the people that are already at the bottom of the employment scale are non-Caymanians, and so they're the ones that are going to get a bit of a lift.
Okay.
Right?
I think ESO put in some numbers as well into the report if anyone wants to take a flip through it. But when you were saying, it is majority non-Caymanians that are going to be impacted. But there, I think in the terms of total numbers, and Shamar, I don't know if you have the number off the top of your head, but it was something like 10,000 people are going to be impacted, 2,000, 20% are Caymanian. So there is going to be an impact. And then one of the key components of the report as well was an adjustment mechanism. That is in relation to what Shamari was talking about, CPI, inflation, that over a period of time, that minimum wage of $8.75 is going to continue to increase. And as you see it continue to increase, you will likely see, and ESO would have to do the analysis, a shift to even more Caymanians being impacted over the years as that increases.
Yeah, because what would have been the motivation behind it then? If out of 10,000 people being affected, only 2,000 were Caymanians. What would have been the motivation behind changing it then? Is
fair.
it something to be
fair,
to be humane,
fair wage
to be,
for a fair day's work.
Okay.
Is within and the interesting thing is, even when you, for instance, look at the Chamber of Commerce, the majority of the businesses within the Chamber of Commerce are also small businesses, right? However, they're already paying their workers, for the most part, above $7, $7.50, $8. So, within rights, they also were already paying above minimum wage, which tells you that it probably already was too low. And looking at all of the different factors across the board, and that's why we always have ESO and everybody else. Right. I think there was agreement that it needed to increase.
Okay.
It was just a question of by how much.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We have two callers on the phone, so we're going to go straight to the phones again. Good afternoon, caller. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
How are you doing today, man?
Good. How are you?
Not the worst.
Okay.
I think what we need to do here in Cayman is encourage more young people to start their own businesses. You can and I like to refer to singers and actors and all that sort of thing. That make the potential to make a lot of money. You look at people like, for example, Miss Fenty, Rihanna. You look at Beyonce. People hear me saying it over and over, but I'm trying to say something. You look at a lot of these people that turn the wheel in such a way that they make a lot of money from this skill, as a singer, as an actor, as a writer, even a barber. You don't see any Caymanian barbers in Cayman. I don't see any, and you don't see the hairdressers. We need to talk to our people and get them into these things instead of sitting down and trying to encourage people to be employed for $10 or $15. You get the job sometimes. I mean, I did it too. Work put my little money together. I even started a little barber shop before. I'm a skilled barber, and I can do different. I got different skills. But we need to do more. That's encouraging our people to be skilled in different areas. You don't really go around and see too much Caymanian masons either. You don't see too much of that. You know, building houses, you know, and you don't see too much of it. See a lot of carpenters. We need to talk to those responsible. Teach a lot of this in school and get our people in a position where we can say something. I'm skilled. You can take it anywhere in the world that you go. You take your skill anywhere. You look at the young lady. She's 30-something years old. I think she's worth about $1.4 billion, Rihanna Fenty. And you look at these young girls, Beyonce and all, and they are very wealthy people. They can do a lot for the country, you know.
Yep. I mean, I think you're absolutely right. We have to look at other areas that, we're not thriving kind of as Caymanians and encourage. I mean, that's not what we're talking about this afternoon, but that's definitely a very good point. So thank you so much for that point this afternoon. In terms of Miss Rihanna and Beyonce, I mean, they've been doing this thing for 25 years. they didn't just show up on the scene. So,
it's hard to replicate that.
And
that's
it's
the
a lot.
0.0001%.
Hey, listen, and the work ethic. I mean, and there's skill, there's luck, there's all sort being in the right place, right time. There's a lot of elements. But you're right in terms of the construction industries and just different industries that we're not representing, or represented. Then those are opportunities for us, I believe, absolutely. So thank you so much for that call this afternoon. We do have another caller. We'll go to the phones again. Good afternoon, caller. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon. Hello.
Hi there.
It's $8.75 an hour. If you work 8 hours a week, that is $370, and it's 5 days. It's $350. So if you're working $350 per week and 4 weeks a month, you're only taking home at least $1,400. Can you tell me how can a person live off of $1,400 per month, paying utilities, paying rent, have other little things to do? You have to pay insurance. Can you tell me how can you make it? Who is going to benefit from $8.75 per hour? It's not actually a grassroots Caymanian that's going to live off of $8.75 per hour. So I would like to know who is really going to benefit from this $8.75 per hour, because no one in Cayman in this God-sent world can live off of $1,400 per month. I'm not sure if any on your panel can do it. I would like to see who can live off of $1,400 a month in Cayman. Not the real Caymanians. It may be the expats that are coming in here from the third world countries, but not the Caymanians, because Caymanians are not used to living. How can you live off of $1,400 a month? Then you have to pay utilities, you have to pay your food bill, you have to buy gas, you have other things to pay. Tell me, and if you have a mortgage, how are you going to live off of $1,400 a month? I mean, that's a disgrace. I would like to know who that applies to. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that call this afternoon.
I think that caller represents a good proportion of our population who rightly are looking at the cost of living in Cayman and thinking that the minimum wage is going to resolve the cost of living challenge. And unfortunately, that is not what the minimum wage is designed to do.
Right.
We know that Cayman is an expensive destination. Those of us that live here feel it every day. So there's no argument about our high cost of living.
Right.
And we just have to be conscious of what the minimum wage is designed to accomplish. It is designed to create a floor below which no one can be exploited and taken advantage of.
Right.
And the Department of Labor and Pensions is the regulator of this piece of legislation. They carry out the inspections to make sure that persons are in compliance and in conformity with the stated objective of a minimum wage. And the Department of Labor and Pensions are going to be asking for an increase in their resources so that they can do a better job at enforcing this particular subject. So there are some challenges. There are challenges in terms of cost of living, but the minimum wage is not the answer to our cost of living challenge.
Right. So I saw on Instagram this morning, I saw from actually Everything 345 the same question: how can someone survive in Cayman with $1,400 CI a month? And one of the responses was they live within their means. They find a little room for 6 bills a month, $200 a month for fosters because they probably live alone, if they live alone, or they get a roommate if they need a roommate. Maybe throw a partner. This was a suggestion, and then they'll even have something left. You'll be surprised to see people surviving off of less than that. So I'm not saying that that's what people should do. I'm just saying I agree that sometimes if you find yourself in a situation that you have to try to make it work for you. And I think before the caller called in, we had talked about who was actually going to be benefiting from that. Mm-hmm. And it was, more than likely it was not going to be Caymanians when you did your numbers, mm-hmm. right? But it was just in the effort of being fair with people in the country doing a fair day's work for a fair day's pay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's, and like you said, Mr. Lemuel, it's not the solution for everything, right?
And I mean, the longer term solutions outside of minimum wage have to do with, we want Caymanians in the skilled jobs and in the skilled workforce, obviously making a good living, but that comes with education, that comes with opportunity, that comes also with enforcing certain laws that are already on the books, and hopefully, with forward planning and in the future and having, proper vocational training as well. And I think to one of the callers' points, Beyonce and the such, but I take the point whereby we need to be teaching our young people to want to have the tools and to want to get into entrepreneurship and owning businesses versus working for a salary. And if we can have more entrepreneurs across the board who are Caymanians in this new generation, they'll make a lot more in their life's earnings versus potentially working for other people as well.
Right, for sure. Will you all stay on to continue this conversation, or do you have to run? Are you able to stay on? Okay, great. So we're going to take a break. I think we got a couple of commercials, but we also have the news coming up, so it's going to be a decent break. Just stay tuned, though, and we'll be back with this discussion right after these few messages.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what, though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
From boat days to beach gatherings. Leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips for all occasions and celebrations. Let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
You don't sound too good there, Bobo.
Yeah, you know how it is. With the kids back in school, every other week they coming out with something, and then I catch it.
Sound like it catch you. But for real, brother, flu season is here and COVID is still around. You gotta stock about things like medicine, vitamins, and minerals for you and the kids. You know what they say, prevention is better than cure.
At ValueMed, our pharmacists can help manage flu symptoms and provide guidance on vitamins and minerals to best support you and your family's overall health. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Town, or WhatsApp your questions and prescription refills to ValueMed on Walkers Road at 926-1662 or WhatsApp ValueMed in Town at 916-5511. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skin care, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drporterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
Radio station. Radio Cayman is the voice of the Cayman Islands. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. History was made at the Cayman Islands Institute of Professional Accountants 2024 Annual General Meeting on March 7th, as it marked the first time women were voted to concurrently hold the roles of SEPA President and Vice President. In international news, a maritime corridor to Gaza could begin operating this weekend to boost aid to the territory, European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen says. It comes a day after President Biden said the U.S. planned to build a temporary port in Gaza. The UN says a quarter of Gaza's population is on the brink of famine and children are starving to death. On Friday, reports said 5 people had been killed by airdropped aid whose parachutes did not deploy properly. Donald Trump has posted a $91.6 million bond as he appeals against the verdict in E. Jean Carroll's defamation lawsuit against him. A jury in January found Mr. Trump owed the former columnist millions of dollars for defamation when he denied he sexually assaulted her. A judge had rejected the former president's request for more time to secure a bond to cover the penalty. Mr. Trump also owes over $400 million in a separate fraud case. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
And welcome back to Talk Today. Catherine Tyson Sewell sitting in for Sterling this afternoon. What's on our mind? Minimum Wage Advisory Committee in the studio talking about minimum wage. And it is a hot topic, and we've been talking a lot about, kind of just clarifying some things. One of the questions is what will be implemented to deter skilled jobs from being paid at minimum wage? As we saw in the first version, will there be any legislation instituted to really ensure fair pay for all who work in this country? We did not hear a response really about how having a degree can really be paid at minimum wage. It seems because from your own account, you appear focused on bringing up the unskilled who just happen to be primarily non-Caymanians. What protections are there for fair minimums? What does the committee say if a job asks for a minimum wage but yet wants a higher level degree as well? Will that not be addressed? That's one question. And the other one is, what's the difference between livable wage and minimum wage? And we have some callers. So if we could address those two questions, that'd be great.
Sure. Well, let's start with the last one first. The difference between a living wage or a livable wage and a minimum wage is that a living wage is a wage that is determined by your reasonable social status in the society and what you would expect your normal living standard to be like. The problem with that is that a living wage is not enforceable by law because it is set by your individual quality standards.
Right.
And so we are eliminating that for the time being, although there are some countries like Bermuda, for example, who recently introduced a $16.40 U.S. minimum wage. That was largely comprised of a component of a livable wage added to a minimum wage.
Okay.
So that's like a hybrid. And we are possibly going to be moving in that direction, if not the next time, very soon, because Cayman has a similar lifestyle as Bermuda does. So we're not yet going to that model, but there's a possibility that we could go there in the future. At the moment, we're sticking to just the basic minimum wage concept. The livable wage is a higher wage that is determined by people's lifestyle, and that's a more costly exercise, but it is not enforceable by law.
Right. Okay, so the question I just want clarified for the person that's sending the WhatsApp, but also for the question before, that's worried about people with degrees.
Yes.
And I don't want it to seem like I'm always bringing up unskilled workers. I was just clarifying what you guys had said, but if we could clarify that so that people understand that fully, what the difference or what will be put in place to ensure that that does not happen.
Well, I am not I'm not experienced in the business of labor consulting, but the people who recruit persons for employment purposes have to comply with the Cayman Islands legislation as prescribed in the labor law. And the labor law provides the mechanism for people to be compensated fairly for the contracts that they have. So if you sign a contract that says, this is the job, this is your qualification, this is your experience, and this is your package, the Department of Labor and Pensions will ensure that whatever you've signed in that contract is what you're actually going to benefit from.
Okay.
Now, if you are willing to work, if you have a degree, but you're willing to take a job that does not require a degree or is of a lower standard, an unskilled job, even though you have a degree, if you choose to accept that job, that's your choice. So let's not make it too complicated.
Okay. Yes.
Your qualifications will not dictate the job that you will accept. Your acceptance is based on your personal circumstances.
Right.
And so, but the Department of Labor and Pension is the agency that has to ensure that people are being fairly compensated according to their employment contracts.
Right. And obviously, someone that has a degree and they're just coming back from school and they don't find opportunities that may be in the field or opportunities that that might match what they feel like they should be making, then best than to sit down and do nothing is to do something and get yourself some experience in order for you to build your resume and then be able to demand a higher salary. That would always be my suggestion, because as my granny would say, you got to start somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. So so just to really encourage people for in that area, in that just that mindset, right? That you're just gonna do your best and we can only do so much, right? In terms of legislation or the expectations from government or whoever else, but you personally have to make some decisions, like you just said. If you're taking a job that does not require a degree, now to expect that the job will be paid more because you have a degree, it might be an unrealistic expectation.
Correct.
Right. And when you look at the categories of the unskilled, quotation mark, unskilled labor, it's like domestic helpers that you'll see within this price range, janitorial staff, security, depending on levels of security. And those are the types of positions that fall within this range. And even within that range, currently there are employers that are paying those employees more than the current $6 in order to do those jobs. And it's really, as we were saying, looking at the most vulnerable and what is a fair day's pay for a fair day's work in regard to the unskilled labor that we have been discussing.
Right. It kind of sounds, we have a couple of calls, we go to the phones, but it kind of sounds like there is a complaint, right, about, I don't know, taking advantage of people or not being fair in the country. And so the response to the complaint is putting this committee together and, sorting that out and ensuring that people are paid fair. And now you're kind of getting a little backlash because of Caymanians not being affected by that. That's what it feels like to me, and just in having this conversation, and that's it almost feels a little unfair if that's what it was put in place to do. And like you said earlier, Miss Nadir, Nadir, is it? Nabi, yeah, that it would eventually affect Caymanians.
If
right?
our recommendations are taken into account, and if that mechanism is put in place to continuously increase based on CPI and inflation considerations, then absolutely you'll see more people falling into that.
Right, right. We'll have some callers. We'll go to the phones again. Good afternoon, caller. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon again to you, folks.
Good afternoon.
I hate to call back, but most people I listen to and what your conversation has led us more or less agree with what I said. Minimum wage has nothing to do really with setting wage levels across the board. That's done by unions. Bermuda, they have labor unions. They have trade unions. I don't think people understand how important those associations are. So maximum importance. Our mother country, if he wants to call it that, we're crown territory, crown colony, crown whatever we want to call it. That's what I call it, a crown colony. They have tremendous amounts of labor unions, even in the government. There they have them. They're unionized in the government. It makes a major difference. That determines the salary band across different borders. I have seen people come here on work permits working for the minimum wage, and they can't, who have degrees in their countries, very recognized degrees, and that's it, because they can live on this, and that's just the reality. We can always talk about making every Caymanian an entrepreneur and a business owner. Then who are going to be the employees? We employed a lot of people over the years from these third world countries, which proved to be a good thing for their employers, yes. But the real thing is we didn't see the repercussions, or many of us didn't see it. Some saw it. That would happen now. The chickens have come home to roost. They can replace everyone with these people in different positions. And this is a reality. This is a reality. What we're talking about is a minimum wage. It has nothing to do with a living wage. As Mr. Lem quite rightly explained, it's a big difference, and they're not there to decide that. The government's minimum wage has always been above the private level's minimum wage, a good bit above it. No one bothered to talk about that. No one bothered to say why there wasn't someone earning minimum wage who was on the committee, right? We wouldn't do that, would we? We wouldn't do that. But the reality is that, as I said before, direct income tax, it's the only fair tax you pay according to what you earn. Cost of living is not high for a person earning $400,000 or $500,000 a year. Even less than that. There are countries where it's much higher than we are. We know that. We all know that. The cost of living is a relative thing. It depends on what you're earning. That's what it depends on. There are people here who find the cost of living really low because they're earning such very high salaries. But we're not taxing them for what they earn back home where they came from, and they're probably sending money back to pay their taxes also at a much reduced rate because of where they're living. They can always find ways and means to change that up, as we all know. I won't go into that. But this is the reality. We have no way, and I'll say it again, of really enforcing this. And it will take a lot more time for our elected representatives to get the courage to put it in place. Because, again, they'll have to go back and talk about it. Again, they'll have to go back, talk to the same private sector about it. And it'll be this deja vu all over again, as that famous reporter used to say years ago, the American sports reporter, deja vu all over again. But I thank you for Mr. Lamb and the other members for what you're trying to do. I really thank you for committing yourself to this. Though I think it's an exercise in futility. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that call this afternoon. A question, clarification. Having a bachelor's degree, but paying $8.75 per hour and 5+ years experience, how is that fair?
Again, I say that is a question that has to be directed to the Department of Labor and Pensions. We are not we are not labor experts, and we're not employment consultants, nor were we asked to look into those types of issues. That is completely outside the remit of a minimum wage advisory group.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. So that's your answer.
One of the things that is in the report that I don't think we've touched on yet is to help address maybe avoiding situations like that in the future. And that is the idea that we had put in a recommendation for Caymanian youth to have a specific minimum wage that is $6 an hour. I think it was between the ages of 12 and 17.
12 and 17.
Yes.
12 and 17 if you're working. That's to encourage Caymanian youth to get experience, skills, and encourage business owners to employ them before they go off and maybe get a bachelor's degree, and sort of set themselves up with a number of skills and build on work ethic, all of those things at a very young age, so that, and perhaps we don't know the circumstances of the individual who has the bachelor's degree, 5 years experience, maybe that could be a stepping stone that can help move them away from resulting in an $8.75 an hour bachelor's degree situation. But like Mr. Lem said, you may choose to accept a job, when you have a bachelor's and you have years of experience. You might be in a new sector. Who knows?
Right. Well, thank you so much for responding to that. I have another caller on the phones. Good afternoon, caller. You're on Talk Today.
Yes, good afternoon.
Hi there.
Yes, well, I heard Mr. Art Connor speaking on the radio this morning, and he said those people who aren't able to qualify, it's because of our educational system in the past not providing the education needed in order for our Caymanians to qualify. And he also mentioned that the majority of the companies in the Cayman Islands do not want to hire Caymanians. And when it comes to concessions, part of the rule of concessions is 60% when it comes to construction, 60% of the workforce. Building the buildings should be Caymanians. How is that possible when the government aren't providing the trade schools in every district that we need in order to provide 60%? Public Works Department, Inspire Cayman, and UCCI cannot do that. We need trade schools in every district in order to provide 60% of the workforce on a construction site. And about 5 years ago, the Auditor General made a report, and she said that the amount of concessions given away, the Caymanians have nothing to show for it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that call this afternoon. We're going to take a quick break. We're on the home stretch, so we have a few more minutes of the show, but we'll take a quick break and we'll be back with more Talk Today. Stay tuned.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
The Business Buzz. Each and every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 7:30 a.m. Brought to you by
Cayman Insurance Center, celebrating 45 years in the Cayman Islands, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services.
Hello, my beautiful Caymanian women. I'm Eliane Powery, your Miss Universe Cayman Islands 2023. Ladies, are you ready to embark on an extraordinary adventure? Recruitment is now open for women 18 and older, married, or with children. But hurry, our deadline for applications is March the 8th. Don't miss out on the chance of a lifetime. Explore a world of opportunities that await you. Visit MissCaymanIslandsUniverse.com to begin your journey today. Trust me, it's a journey you won't want to miss.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back to Talk Today. Catherine Tyson Sewell. I'm sitting in for Sterling. And we actually, 8 minutes left? We don't have a whole lot of time. We're going to wrap up this conversation. I am in with the Minimum Wage Advisory Committee. 3 of the members, the actual chairperson, Mr. Lemuel Hurlston, and Miss Maureen Nobby. Sorry for
no worries.
Massacring her.
Calling you someone else. And Shamari Scott, thank you all so much for joining me this afternoon. Obviously, as I said, it's a hot topic. Maybe I kind of heated it up by even saying that. Next time I'm going to say, cold topic. No one cares about it. No one's going to come.
People will call regardless.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Thank you. But really, it is a topic. It does affect everyone, and everyone needs to know, right? But where are we now? So let's just finish up the conversation. And if you've been thrown off by all the calls and the WhatsApp, tell us what you came to tell us. In 7 minutes now.
Right. Well, I think we've said basically what we wanted to say, except that we haven't talked as much as I would have liked about the whole question of the hospitality industry, and in particular, the allowance made for using a portion of the gratuity pool to supplement their wage bill. That's a recommendation that we've written quite a bit about in our report, and we're recommending that 25% allowance or subsidy for coming out of the gratuity pool to supplement wages, that we're recommending that be phased out over a period of 4 years, 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
So that at the end of that period, employers will have to find all of the minimum wage costs from their pockets, and nothing from the subsidy of the gratuity pool will be allowed to go into that pot. And I think that's a major change that people need to look at closely in the report and to offer their feedback to the government on that.
Definitely. So finalizing this I guess, query or suggestion, can the committee recommend the national policy to be written to regulate a job evaluation standard that employees must follow and set a minimum acceptable to hire based upon? Those in the corporate community know that you can always do better than the law to attract talent, never less than the law. So why not establish the standard accepted by your country to deter the unscrupulous practices, including ensuring the economic health of business, that the companies are truly capitalized to operate properly and not to undervalue jobs to increase profit margin?
I think we should simply just forward that on to the Department of Labor.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and do that, because that's not your remit.
That's not our area.
Okay.
I think one of the key things is where we're at now is the report is out, the recommendations are out, conversation is happening, which is fantastic. The ministry has given, as Mr. Lem talked about, this period now until April 9th for any additional comments to come in from people who might look at the recommendations and say, I thought one thing before when we were having the discussion, but now my mind has shifted and I want to make sure that's on record. So if you have comments, if you have ideas, if you look at it and say, well, I don't know what the heck is going on, send a note to the ministry, and the email address is minimumwage@gov.ky.
Simple.
So
that's easy to remember.
And the report is online now.
It is.
So you can definitely, and some good bed night reading, read through the report, as well as just to mention that there are minority reports that are within the document that Mr. Lem was gracious enough to allow, if there was a differing opinion from different segments of the committee, that you could go on record backing up why you think something should go a certain way. And there were 1 or 2 minority reports that are included within. So I think everybody, especially if we come back on the radio, everybody should have read that report, know exactly what's in there.
Where can they find it?
Great pointed questions.
It's on the government website.
Okay.
So actually, as of yesterday, I believe, it's on the actual homepage of gov.ky. It's one of the featured stories. Yes. So you should be able to go to gov.ky. You should be able to find it. If it's not there, there's a quick search bar at the top. You should be able to type minimum wage and it will pop up.
It's International Women's Day. Thanks for saving them. It's not being. They're like, it's there. It's there.
No.
Thank you. That's awesome. And now I'm going to say that they don't necessarily have to read it right before bed, because I won't sleep at night, okay? And this is probably pretty big. But you can read it on your break time, or you can read it on a treadmill. There's lots of ways that you can,
my reading happens at night, so I'm just putting that out there. But yeah, definitely, whenever you have a chance, definitely read it so that you can understand all the different components that went in. To also ask questions about specific sections within the report. There's so much information in there. There's so much backup in there that I think it would be great now, instead of, and that's great too, just thinking about the number and discussing it and some of the other issues, actually looking through and reading the entire report and asking questions about what's in the report as well would definitely be useful moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you all so much. Thanks for being,
thank you.
Being troops about it as well, because I know that it was hot for a second there, for sure.
Never hot.
Yeah, but you're just cool. You're just cool. Look at you, just cool.
Good questions.
Great questions.
But what it does show you is that there are a lot of other issues at the fore that maybe people are taking the advantage of the fact that we're discussing minimum wage to bring those up. So maybe there should be further conversation, Ms. Tyson, on all those other areas
I absolutely
outside
believe
of the
so.
minimum wage, so that people can get their thoughts, especially that we're getting close to an election.
Yes.
People can wrap their heads around it and start to bring up solutions for whatever the government looks like moving forward.
Yes, and I like the fact that people are thinking, people are involved, because we need to get involved.
Absolutely.
We've long passed the days where we can just go, you guys take care of it, everything's gonna be okay. No, and then you turn around like, what just happened? So up until April 9th, people actually have the opportunity to say something.
Sure.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely. And speak to your local representatives. Get them to know what your opinions are, because they're the ones that ultimately are looking at this report and deciding what to do with it.
Right. Thank you all. Thanks so much, Miss Maureen Nabi. Got you again. Got you right this time. Representing the Business and Professional Women's Club, Mr. Shamari Scott, who's here. This time he's representing the Chamber of Commerce.
This time.
But tomorrow, it could, you are the busiest. They used to call Sammy Davis Jr. the busiest man in showbiz. You're the busiest man in the Cayman Islands. Like, for sure. Mr. Lemuel Hurlston, chairperson for the actual Minimum Wage Advisory Committee. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
And everyone who has been listening, thank you all for just being involved and sending the messages through and calling. It was a really great show. We got through it very fast because of you. And the reason that we show up every day and do this is for you, because this is Talk Today. Signing off. Have a great, great afternoon.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.